أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. As for the inward and spiritual ordering of life is concerned, it depends on the remembrance of Allah, dhikr, relationship with Allah, ta'alluq ma Allah, and on obedience to Him, ita'ah. For this to begin with, Allah Ta'ala has already placed in the heart of every human being a basic substance and urge to remember and to obey Him. Then He inspired it, that is, inspired the soul or heart instinctively as to its wrong and as to its right. So all around human beings, not a particle remains in which Allah Ta'ala has not placed wonders of His perfect power and His astounding creativity, seeing which even a person of average understanding would be moved to say, "So blessed be Allah, the best to create." Other than these manifestations, He sent His messengers, revealed His books through which the essential linkage between the Creator and the created was fully established. Thus, the command given is that now the earth has been placed in proper order, outwardly and inwardly. Let it not go bad through human misdeeds. As pointed out earlier, Islah or order having two aspects, fasad or disorder also has two aspects, the outward and the inward. This saying of Allah Ta'ala forbids both. Though the recurring insistence of the Quran and the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is on a spiritual order as a cardinal duty which in effect aims to stop any emergence of spiritual disorder as a counter possibility, but in the world we live in, the linkage between the order and disorder of the physical and spiritual is such that any disorder in one becomes the source of disorder in the other. Therefore, when the Sharia of the Quran has blocked the doors of spiritual disorder, it has also prohibited physical disorder. Theft, robbery, murder, and all ways of immodesty and indecency create all sorts of physical and spiritual disorder in the world. So stern restrictions were placed and punishments proposed particularly against such evil acts, while common sins and crimes were also prohibited, because every sin becomes the source of physical disorder at some time, and that of spiritual disorder at some other. And if looked at closely, every outward disorder becomes the cause of the inward disorder, and conversely, every inward disorder becomes the source of outward disorder. That outward or physical disorder becomes the inevitable source of inward or spiritual disorder is obvious, for it is the contravention of the command to obey divine injunctions. In fact, disobedience to Allah Ta'ala is another name for spiritual disorder. As for the chemistry of a spiritual disorder and how it transforms itself as the cause of a physical disorder, this can be discerned only through a little serious reflection. The reason is that this whole world and everything big and small in it was created by the master of the domain of creation to wherever it extends, and it is but subservient to His command. So far as human beings remain obedient to Allah, everything stands harnessed into their service as due and proper. But when human beings start disobeying Allah Ta'ala, everything in the world starts disobeying human beings from behind a curtain through which they cannot see with their mortal eyes. But it is by deliberation into the effects, properties, results, and outcomes of these things that one does find the relevant proof of their becoming hostile very conclusively. If taken with a service view, human beings keep using all these things normally. When water goes down the throat, it does not refuse to quench thirst. Food does not stop removing hunger, and dress and home do not disappoint them by refusing to provide a defense against heat and chill. But when looked at in terms of the ultimate outcome, it would appear that none of these things is fulfilling its assigned job, because the real function and use of all these things is that they should provide peace and comfort, that anxieties are removed and sicknesses are cured. Now, if you look at conditions prevailing in our world, you will realize that despite the proliferation of things of comfort and the means and materials of curing diseases much beyond any expectation, the majority of human beings is victimized by extreme distresses and diseases. Never known diseases and ever new calamities seem to be the order of the day. No one, not even the highest among human beings, is contented and in peace in his or her station of life. In fact, the more these functional facilities and fruits of skill keep increasing in their output, the more increasing becomes the parallel manifestation of diseases, anxieties, disasters, and hardships. Very much like the saying in Urdu, which means, the more they treat you, the more sick they make you. If modern man, bewitched by the magic of energy and its material gains, were to rise a little above his infatuation with things and technology, he will realize that all our efforts to invent and construct things and to lay the foundations of a society on top of them have flatly failed to give us peace and comfort, which was our real purpose. There is no reason for this but that inward disorder we have been talking about, which means that we have started disobeying our Creator and Master, so His creation has started disobeying us on the inward front. That He refuses to provide real peace and comfort for us, despite all our efforts at breakneck speed. To this famous Maulana Rama pointed out by saying that the elements of dust, air, water, and fire, though they do appear insensate, in reality they do possess a degree of intelligence which makes them work up under the command of their master. To sum up, it can be said that sin, heedlessness towards Allah Ta'ala, and disobedience to Him do not only create spiritual disorder, but they also lead to the inevitable physical disorder. In the same Maulana Rumi says that the cloud does not come to rain when you stop paying zakat, while from zina, adultery, results an epidemic affecting all directions. This is no poetic imagination. This is a reality authentically supported by the Quran and Hadith. But what becomes visible in this world is just a light sample of the ultimate punishments in the form of diseases, epidemics, storms, hurricanes, and floods.
Subtraction. Okay, Martin has 7
Therefore, included in the sense of the verse, and do no mischief on the earth after it has been set in order, are crimes and sins which cause disorder in the world, physically and outwardly, and also included there are sin, disobedience, and heedlessness towards Allah Ta'ala. Therefore, immediately after this verse, it was said, and supplicate to Him in fear and hope. It means that it should be done in a way that, on the one hand, one has the fear of the dua remaining unanswered, while on the other hand, one has full hope tied to His mercy. These very twin attitudes of fear and hope are the two wings of the human soul on its journey with truth and fortitude. On these it flies high, and through these it reaches superior ranks destined for it.